Ahmed, I want to start with a personal story. I did a fat transfer last year. I was extremely happy, satisfied about the result at the beginning, but disappointed that half of the result disappeared after a few months. And it seems to be a pretty common story. So can you tell us why fat transfer is so unpredictable?
First, thank you for sharing that. It means a lot. And this is a big pain point that we're seeing in a lot of patients that come to us or come to our clinicians, and that is the unpredictability. And the main reason for that is how the doctor processes the fat tissue. Today, I can give you 2 products and you and I could both process the patient's own fat and we're going to get different results. And that's the inconsistency because there's no standardization. It's all technique based. And when you have a technique based type of approach, all of that gets compressed into you have to go to a specific doctor to get maybe the better results. And it's not available to a lot of other people. So that's where we see that our system is able to help out.
So the question is not whether fat transfer works or not. It's about consistency, repeatability, right?
Yes. So that's where we come in. We wanted to create a system that you and I, again, we're not clinicians, but you and I, if we were given a fat sample and we were to put it into the system, that the system would be able to process and output that fat tissue in a repeatable, reproducible way so that you and I both have the same results. And if you're treating a patient, that patient gets the same result every single time.
You don't want me to do a surgery on you. So what did you build at Syntr to solve this?
So Syntr has developed the SyntrFuge system, which is an automated fat processing system. So it allows clinicians to harvest the fat, put it into our system, press one button, and the fat output is consistent and efficient every single time.
So when people say automation, it sounds like a buzzword. So what are the hard proof points that this is real?
Yes. So we have 2 FDA clearances already. We've done multiple patients we've treated with our system. We have not only partnered with clinicians from a customer perspective, but we actually take them on as partners. So we're getting real world feedback on how to improve the system as we grow. So the biggest thing that we did is a human clinical study for facial aesthetics, where we injected fat tissue that was processed in our system. And we saw over an average of 80% volume retention. Patient satisfaction was over 90% compared to what they came in with, around like 31%. So we have the clinical backing and the data, not just in vitro, but actual human clinical data that shows that we work. And then lastly, we have seen an average of 93% cell viability compared to the average products out there, which is hovering around the low to mid 70s to low 80s right now.
So the goal is to reduce human variability and preserve viability in a consistent way?
Yes. So the system is making it easier for clinicians, making it easier for the staff that work with the clinicians to be able to output the results that they want.
So can you tell me more about your clinical data beyond the lab test?
Yes. So as I mentioned earlier, we did human clinical trials in facial aesthetics. We went beyond that. We did chronic wound care, breast cancer reconstruction, breast augmentation. So going back to the facial aesthetics, we treated over 20 plus patients in a multi-center study. Over the course of 6 months, we saw over 80% of volume retention. Roughly 80% of our patients saw 100% volume retention. We averaged around 80% retention. So that being one of the biggest studies that we did. And on the wound care side as well, we saw great, amazing wound healing capabilities within our system. So we're expanding, we're not just taking this as face value, no pun intended. We're expanding our data collection. So as we grow and continue to work with clinicians, we want to harvest that data and really understand, what are we doing? Are we doing it right? Can it be improved? What can we do to work with our clinicians in order to get them the results that they want and ultimately get the patient the satisfaction that they're looking for?
Very interesting. So let's talk about business now. Let's talk about numbers. So people often underestimate how big the fat transfer category is. So how big is this opportunity? Can you tell us your metrics in plain business numbers?
Yes. So, some market estimates show $14 billion by 2023, growing at $24 billion by 2030. So for us, what we did is we did a bottom-up approach analysis. So in the United States, there's over 11 million reconstructive procedures conducted. That's whether it's aesthetic-based or wound care-based or acute injury-based, 11 million procedures done. So when you take that number and you multiply it by the average of what a consumable fat processing is sold for, you get an almost $9 billion total addressable market for just fat processing devices. And then for us, we took that next step and we looked at it and we're like, okay, What about chronic wound care and breast reconstruction? That makes a $2 billion obtainable market for Syntr. So for us, we're targeting that in our expansion plan and really hitting on those early metrics so that we can hit the sales numbers that we anticipate.
So when procedures grow, tools that make it predictable become the infrastructure. Now, I still have one question for you. How many clinics are using it? What is the momentum you're seeing? It sounds so great. So tell me how it's working commercially.
Yes. So we started off as just founders doing early founders sales. So we haven't, gotten to the level of full commercialization. That's the goal of our current fundraising efforts right now. But with ourselves right now, with a capital efficient team, so to say, we've been able to be used by over 10 KOLs in the field, 3 surgery centers, doing over 70 plus procedures to date. So we're getting there. We're starting to get that momentum, starting to grow that momentum. And now everything is kind of spreading word of mouth from our KOLs. But with our fundraising efforts and eventual commercialization and scaling, we're hoping to get out there as fast as possible.
So your fundraising, if investors are watching us, can you tell us what makes your company so appealing for investors?
That's a very good question. So for us, we are building our company to meet investor priorities. So we have an amazing system that is able to produce and output something that is needed by the patients. It's easy to use for the clinicians. It's putting money back into the pockets of the clinicians. It's saving facility time and money based off of our studies. We're built and manufactured in the U.S. So, tariff proof. Everyone talks about tariffs right now. The intellectual property really gets us to where we need to be. But at the end of the day, it's the results that matter. I get phone calls, I get text messages still from some of the patients that we've treated that say, hey, I love my results. So we know that we're sitting on something that is really important and can be explosive once, out there in the market. And we're hoping that the investors see that as well, join us on this journey with us and help see Syntr grow.
So in 5 years, if you succeed, how is Syntr going to change the market?
I think when we succeed in this market, you will see not just our product, but maybe even the future of products that we develop, really focusing and, again, emphasizing the need for standardization, for reproducibility, repeatability, affordability for certain patients. But at the same time, for clinicians, it's not wasting time in the OR, not wasting time in the offices, and really being able to give the patient what they deserve and what they need.
This is a powerful mission, making regenerative outcome more predictable. Ahmed, congratulations for being selected by the IMCAS Innovation Tank.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.